Authentically Me, Regina V is back with another video. How are you? I hope you've been well. I hope you've been in good health. To all my subscribers, thank you for rocking with all the videos. Thank you for spending the time giving me those views and watching my videos, watching my content. I really appreciate it. And for those of you that are new to the channel, what I do on my channel is I go through therapy workbooks and I share my journey with you, hoping that that will inspire you to embark on your own therapeutic journey to healing. So let's get into it. We are on to day 18. Today is Thursday, October 12th. Let's see, that's day 20. These are all done impromptu. If you want to see some that are a little bit more structured, I did this original book. It's Not You, It's Them, 30 Days of Hope and Help for the Adult Child of a Narcissist. I did this 2 years ago. I'm just revisiting it now just as a litmus test, just to see where I'm at on this journey of healing, to see what things I need to improve upon, to see what things I need to learn again and study, and to see what things I am accomplishing and I'm actually able to do them. So let's get into day 18. Where are we? Went back too far. Here we go. Day 18. Competition for the enabler parent. Where is father? Father is revolving around mother like a planet around the sun. Dr. Carl McBride, author of Will I Ever Be Enough? Healing the Daughters of Narcissistic Mothers. Might check that out. Narcissists have extremely fragile egos, and it is not uncommon for the narcissistic mother to see her daughter as competition for the enabling father's affection. Mother often looks for ways to keep the father separated from the daughter, since mother sees their relationship as a threat to her narcissistic supply. Why would the father agree to this distancing from his own daughter? Enabling fathers are peacekeepers first and foremost. They have the misguided idea that keeping mother happy matters more than standing up to the narcissist for the child's sake. The scapegoated daughter then suffers from not having a loving, involved father in her life, and often begins early, seeking love in boys and sexually acting out, desperate for male attention. Disastrous relationships often follow, as her standards are low. She has no healthy role model to show her how she should be treated. Whoa, this is really good. This hits me on two different type of levels. One, as a person that is really working to be the best version of myself, to be the best mother that I can. And then the other is that inner child that's like, oh yeah, I remember that. So first, let me address it as like my inner child. My father was in and out of my life when I was younger. So it's not like he was never around, but they had divorced when I was a young kid, maybe around 2, 3, 4. I don't remember them being married. So it was that long ago. And then my father had several different relationships. He eventually ended up remarrying. And so during that time, I didn't really see him. I can remember going like to Texas to visit him on and off. And then when me and my sister were together, we would visit him. But once she left and started to live with him, really, I didn't see him that often. And it would be like 2 years or 3 years where there would be a gap of time where I didn't see him. And so I would have to say that that definitely played a role in some of my decisions, some of my seeking love in boys that were inappropriate, sexually acting out, being desperate for male attention, and then experiencing my own essay at the age of 10. I really feel like had I had my dad in my life to be more of a protector, even if they were divorced, and even if the situation was where he had my sister and she had me, I think a lot of the things that happened to me wouldn't have. And I think another reason with me, I don't know if he necessarily, if it was like it says enabling fathers are peacekeepers first and foremost. But I remember another time when she said an enabler father is also an absent father. And so that was his way of enabling. I don't think it was to keep the peace or anything like that. He was just absent. And so that's my thinking on that. As far as like the competition, I didn't notice it when I was a kid because you don't know how to label something. But as I got older, I did feel like my mom was competing with me. And it would be in small ways, like intellectual ways. So, if I misspoke or if I, said a word wrong or something like that, it would be like this correction, this I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you, type of thing. And then once my husband and I bought our home, it just the behavior that was exhibited, it came off as jealous. And I'm here to tell you, like, all the emotions that are available to all of us as humans, I have felt them before. I felt jealous, I felt competition before. So it's not anything to get all up in arms about. It's just a reality. But that really just, if you know a narcissist, they do have a huge ego. And once that ego is hit, baby, it's no coming back. Then the second thing, hold on a second. Turn my ring light on. The second thing is me as a parent. So I don't know if any of you have watched the previous videos or remember, but a lot of us, she talked about how a lot of us that are childhood survivors of narcissistic abuse, we grow up overly thinking like, am I a narcissist? Am I a narcissist parent? And in the book, she's like, no, you're not, because a narcissist would never ask themselves if they're a narcissist. So I know that I'm not, but I do exhibit some narcissist traits, things that I've learned. And I just want to say, when it says, it feels like the mother often looks for ways to keep the father separated. Why would father agree to, no, not that part. Let's see, narcissists have extremely fragile egos. I do sometimes have a fragile ego, and it says, and it is not uncommon for the narcissist mother to see her daughter as competition for the enabling father's affection. So what I will say with that is, like, my oldest daughter, she is very close to my husband, like they all are, but she's very, she's close to him, she hugs him, she represents me, so sometimes she tends to act like me, and I have to be like, whoa, hold up, you not the mommy, you the daughter. But one day I did have to check myself because I did feel like a little jealous. Like, she ran up and like gave him this big hug and a kiss and was like, Daddy, how's your day? And it was before I was able to greet him coming through the door. And I felt something, and I was just like, and I had to check it and be like, no, she's excited to see her father. He's excited to see her. Let them get them cuddles in. And then when they're done, don't go, don't interrupt. When they're done, go over there and give them a hug. But I had to check myself, because instinctively I felt myself feel a little jealous. Like, dang, I'm right here. Do I not get the hug first? Like, I'm the mom. Do I not get the hug first? And she's running, being all sweet. Like, I miss you so much. And so I'm so glad that I was almost able to step outside myself or see myself. I can't really explain it. Like, I felt the emotion, but then there was that voice, that still small voice, the Lord, the Spirit, I don't know, but it was something telling me like, no, refrain, no, and it's not like it just immediately dissipated. It kind of like just, the more I talked to myself, the more the feeling went away. And I really had to hold myself back. And so just in reading that, sometimes we do have learned behaviors that we need to address. And it's not until reading this that I'm like, oh, wow, I've experienced that. And just because you have a feeling doesn't mean you have to act on it. And it doesn't mean you have to say everything that comes to your mind when you're in a certain emotional state. I've learned that from just reading, but I've also learned that from making the mistake many, many times. So yeah, I hope that all makes sense to you guys, but that's pretty cool. Okay, so the affirmation is, I deserve a loving, respectful, and attentive mate, and will act and will accept no less in life. If I don't have this, I will thrive alone. I deserve a loving, respectful, and attentive mate, and will accept no less in life. If I don't have this, I will thrive alone. I deserve a loving, respectful, and attentive mate, and will accept no less in life. If I don't have this, I will thrive alone. What this means to me. I am worth being loved, being respected, and being attended to by my husband. And I will accept no less in life. If I don't have this, I will thrive alone, and you will thrive alone. And glory be through the grace of God, I do have a loving, respectful, and attentive mate. I may not always get the eye contact I want when I'm talking, but when I challenge him and I say, you weren't listening to anything I said, he'll ramble everything off that I just said. So, but I want to say that affirmation to you. You deserve a loving, respectful, and attentive mate, and you don't need to accept anything less in life. And if you don't have this, you will thrive alone. Okay? Let's move on to the journal to heal. My desire for a happy relationship. In this exercise, I'd like you to list all the qualities you want in a mate. Feel free to dream as specifically as you wish. If you're already in a happy relationship, list the things you love about your partner. Think about things like temper, hobbies, relationship habits, loyalty, fidelity, parenting outlook, work-life balance, etc. Remember, we have to know what we're looking for in order to find it. My ideal mate will be something like this. A believer in Jesus. He is hardworking. He is a great provider. He is very rational. He is supportive. He is a great father. So important to me. Very, very involved in our children's life from the time I got pregnant with them all the way till now. He's just chill. He's chill. Like, he get on my nerves sometimes, but that's a part of being in a relationship. I know I get on his nerves sometimes, but I feel blessed. I'm blessed to have met him. So those are just a few things. He's funny. He likes to eat my food, so anything I cook, he's very easy to please. Like, even if I taste it, I'm like, this does not taste right. This tastes too salty. He'd be like, it's good. It's good. And that brings us to the end of day 18. Wow, that went really, really fast. I hope all of that made sense to you. It made sense to me, but I hope it made sense to you. Again, thank you guys so much for rocking with the channel. Something real quick I want to share with you that I learned on my run today. My two little plaques in the back. That I learned on my run today that in my 40 years, I had never heard of before. And I felt like it was an answer to a prayer that I have had. Romans 12:2 is the scripture that is tattooed here, my favorite scripture. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what is God's perfect will for your life. Cast your cares on him, for he cares for you. Take your thoughts captive and make them obedient to Christ. Do not be anxious. So all these things about really controlling our thoughts, right? I've always loved those scriptures. I've always gravitated towards them just because, my thinking, I have, those racing thoughts or whatever, and I can be an emotional person. And so I'm doing my run today. I did it indoor, and I was listening to Tommy Reeves Posey, his Costa Rican 5K series. He was in Concha, something like that. I'll put it down in the description if you're ever interested, or if you find him on iFit and you're wondering what I'm talking about. So when he runs, he talks about history. He talks about the area that you're in. He also coaches you through running, like telling you to check your form, check your breathing, the purpose of a recovery run. And then he also gives like cool little just fun educational facts about where he's running. He ran past these snakes that are the most venomous snake in all the world. He explained the difference between venomous and poisonous. Poisonous is something you eat. Venomous is something that bites you or something like that. So anyway, he's running and he's talking about his experience and he's explaining the culture, and he also is really into architecture. So he's talking about different architecture, and he begins to talk about how in history certain symbols are put on certain buildings or on certain artwork and things like that because it wants to initiate a thought pattern in your mind. So when you see this symbol, you think of this, right? And so he said one of the symbols that he thinks of that he saw when he was growing up and that is very prevalent in the Costa Rican culture is the symbol of a circle inside of a square. And so I'm like, okay. And so what that symbolizes or what that represents is the square is our rational thoughts, our rational thinking mind, and the circle in the inside is our emotions. And it is, when we see it, it's supposed to be a reminder that that our rational thinking guards our emotions. And so another way that he said it, because he studied neurology or something like that, he said our amygdala is guarded by our cerebral cortex, because our amygdala is where our emotions are, and then our rational thinking is what guards that. So it's what prevents us from acting out. Our rational thoughts guard us from letting our emotions drive us. And I just was like, oh my God, like, it just felt like such a blessing. It just felt like in that moment, my mind and my heart was like this soft, fertile soil where that seed could be planted. And it just felt just so intimate. That's why I call them my worship runs or meditative movement or praise runs, because it's like in that moment, what he was saying is exactly what I had been asking about. And it was in that moment today on that run, everything leading up to that moment prepared my heart and my mind to just receive that. And it's something that I've never heard of. I'll be 41 in December and I've never heard of that symbol. I'm actually about to Google it and look it up and see if I can, but I never heard of that symbolism. But it makes so much sense to me. I have to work very hard when I'm in a certain emotional state. I feel like maybe anger or rejection. It is very hard for me to not do and say things from that emotional mind frame, because I'm so sensitive when I am in those two emotional states. And so, excuse me. And so here recently, I've really been practicing what has helped me be even more hyper aware of that is I've been practicing thinking about different words, and one word that I had been thinking about was equanimity or composure, keeping your composure in stressful situations. And being in a big family, having, 4 kids, a husband, I'm put in stressful situations whether I want to be or not. And running is a good stressor, but I'm challenged. I can't just say pick up something one time and it gets picked up. I have to say it 3 times. Sometimes I have to raise my voice and I don't want to. And it's like, why didn't you do what I asked you to do? Why didn't you pick this up? Or I tell you to throw something in the trash. I go do something, come back around the corner. It's right there. That's stressful. It's stressful. Like no parent that I know it will. No, for me, I'm not the kind of parent that enjoys losing my temper on my children or fussing at them or yelling at them. It doesn't feel great, so it's just like you're constantly in that stress. Or my husband might say something that makes me feel rejected or, and it wasn't his intention, but it just flipped that switch. And then I'm in this state, and I don't know how you guys are, if you're really into your body, but I feel it. I mean, when I'm in that rejected state or when I'm in that anger state, I feel it. And I feel myself wanting to, that's the only way I can just, I really have to be like, and so what I've been doing lately is I've really been getting in my head and just praying and being completely honest with God about what I want to do. And I am very transparent, and I said it took me a while to get there, you know, because I was raised in a Baptist church, and it's like you don't argue God, you don't question God, you don't this. But now that our relationship is so much more intimate, my faith is deeper, I know that I can tell him whatever I'm feeling because he is omnipotent, because he is omnipresent. He already knows that I'm feeling and thinking it. It's just that vulnerability for me to actually confess it to him. And so I will be in my mind praying to him like, I want to do this. I want to say this, and I want to do this, and I want to reach out, and I want to. I want to heal the world, make it a better place. Michael Jackson. But and so I really have been practicing that. And so the more that I've started to practice that, the more I'm aware of my composure, the more I feel out of control, and the more I'm just like, look at this emotion. See, I'm feeling this, I want to do this, I want to say this. And so everything that I've been practicing, even in doing this, led me to that moment to where it's like, now you're ready to receive this. And that's such, and so I really wanted to, like, I wanted to have my hair down. I got these gold things in it. I want to be crinkly for you guys. And, you know, I don't put on makeup or anything like that, but I enjoy liking what I'm wearing, and I enjoy, you know, doing stuff to my hair. But I just was like, I don't have time for that because my kids are going to be home soon, and my hair is not dry from my run yet. And I really am trying to make my twist last. But I had to share that with you guys if you have not heard of that before. And it just makes complete sense. And so how I practiced it on my run, because, you know, our mind just tries us. It tries us. And so after I had processed it and I'm walking, I'm thinking, I'm like, Lord, dang, that's such an amazing, like, thing for me to learn. It's new. I thought about how, as I was running, this is something as simple as I was running, right? Today was like a longer recovery run for me. And so tomorrow will be like a shorter run. And so I started thinking, I had a thought about, okay, this recovery run tastes good, feels good. And so then I thought about, oh, tomorrow's going to be a speed run. Am I going to run? I'm going to run outdoors. And so then once I thought, oh, I'm going to run outdoors, a sense of worry, an emotional state of worry just kind of crept in to where I was, you know, I started thinking about the weather, thinking about this. And so then I told myself, I was like, no, you're not going to think about tomorrow's run because you're not done in this run. You're in this moment. And so when I was done running, I said, so the emotion that crept up the circle was worry, because I'm thinking about where I'm going to run and what's going to happen on my run tomorrow. So that's the worry, and that's the underlying thing. The circle, the square, the rational thinking that is going to guard that worry and not allow it to express itself is that I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's not possible for me to think myself in tomorrow right now in this moment and know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I know what I'm doing right now. That's rational. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I know what I'm doing right now. So the emotion of worry is guarded by that rational thought of, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I know what I'm doing today. So I hope that blesses you the way that it blessed me. I was so excited to share it with you guys. Hopefully you make it to this part of the video so that you can see that part, because for those of us that are survivor thrivers, sometimes it can feel like our thoughts rule over us and our emotions rule over us. And it's like, no, our emotions don't have to rule us, and neither do our thoughts. Because again, you can have a rational thought, you can have an irrational thought. I can have a rational thought during a run too, where it's like, I think I'm about to stop, but I don't. So, you know, we can rule over our thoughts, we can rule over our emotions, and God truly, truly has given us everything that we need to live a good and godly life. We have His Word and we have His Son. So we're completely covered on all sides. Thank you guys so much for rocking with the channel. Yeah, and oh yeah, don't forget to get out there and get after whatever your get after is, if you are able to get after it. I love you. God loves you so much more. I was glitching for just that second.